was a privilege to see for the first time. Someone told me that if you want anything in the Web3 industry, just Dr. Marwan has many connections. Frankly, he was mistaken. Dr. Marwan is the connection. So thank you, Dr. Marwan. He is a bridge that brings together innovators, disruptors, and visionaries to drive the progress of our industry. I would like to express immense gratitude to the unsung hero. So this is ChatGPT unsung hero, Mr. Amro. He's my friend. He's a brother who makes this happen because of tireless efforts behind the scenes. Thank you again, Mr. Amro. So let's extend our applause to our speakers, partners, and dedicated individuals who make today possible. Thank you, everyone. So I would like to introduce Ms. Maria Vovchak. She will be our first host for the first panel, the Bitcoin ETF and regulations.
1, 2, 3. Hi. Thank you so much, Rudy. And good morning, everyone. How are you feeling today? Amazing. Before we start our panel and before I'll invite our amazing panelists to the stage, I have a quick announcement to make, and I think I can really do that. And I believe that this will make you really entertained, engaged, and interesting to participate directly in our panel discussions. So, whenever you came here, have you seen this really nice bikes, like violet color, lilac color at the entrance? There was a sports bike. Who has seen it? Okay, you've seen that? Okay, a couple of people have seen it. If not, please check it out once the panel is over. But what I'm trying to say is that there are 2 bikes, this kind of sports bike. We will have additional, let's say, Q&A session from our audience, and 2 best questions from 2 people who will ask the best question. Those people will go get those bikes as a present. This is a present from CoinW. So again, those people who will ask the most interesting questions, I'll ask the CoinW team keep track of everyone who will be asking from the audience. 2 people will go home riding those bikes, okay? Okay, do you agree? Okay, so before we'll go further with our panel discussions, just please keep this in mind. Definitely ask questions, think about the panel discussions, listen carefully, and definitely watch our next video. Amazing. So, As we discussed it today earlier, we have I think, really interesting agenda for you, and I'm really happy that we'll start with our panel, because I mentioned this earlier, I think, a couple of times, that one of my favorite topics is about regulations. So we'll definitely discuss today Bitcoin ETF and regulations, and for this, please welcome on stage Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni, CEO of Dubai Blockchain Center, recognized blockchain tech advocate, ranked by Cointelegraph as one of the top 100 most influential people worldwide in blockchain. Please give him a big hand. Also, please welcome on stage Sonia Shaw, president at CoinW Global. With over 17 years of experience in the business sector, Sonia Shaw has carved out an exceptional career, culminating in her current leadership role at CoinW. Please give her a big hand. Also, please welcome Gray Jabesi, crypto educator and founder of Crypto University, and also crypto influencer with more than 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. Give him a big hand. And also, last but not least, please welcome on stage DaVinci Jeremy, CEO of DaVinci Codes. DaVinci Jeremy is a senior software developer, crypto YouTube influencer DaVinci J15, founder of Pandora's Wallet. Give him a big hand. So, thank you again for joining our panel discussions. Please remember that everyone who's here, you have amazing opportunity to win a prize. Just ask the right question. So my first question, I don't know, maybe I can participate as well or not. Let's see. With one of the, let's say, with one of the most probably big news that happened this year, at the beginning of this year, with the final approval, so much anticipated approval of Bitcoin Spot ETF, what immediate effects have you already observed in the global crypto markets?
I think thank you first of all for having us, and thank you for an amazing event, an amazing venue, and amazing audience as well. Coming on a daytime of Ramadan by itself is an achievement for most people. But I think this energy of this crypto rally and crypto market pickup, driven in part by the ETF listing, has done something unprecedented in the history of Bitcoin. And we've seen this happen in such a large volume, a large kind of way, that this is really surprising to us, even us veterans who've gone through so many cycles. It's going to be an amazing journey, but it's going to be a risky one as well. So be careful, because introducing institutions to the equation is both good and can come with its own risks as well. So tread carefully, but enjoy the journey as well.
Enjoy the ride, of course. By the way, we'll definitely discuss about the risks, but who else would like to jump in as well? Sonia. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Such a privilege to meet all these industry leaders and amazing people, especially in Dubai here. I mean, the center of pretty much Web3, everything's happening here. I just feel very lucky and privileged to be here. Just regarding the question about ETF, I think we've seen the rally, we've seen all this positive, sentiments that created by this good movement. So, I mean, even just a lot of criticism still around, I think, to overall the market condition and how people perceive crypto because of the institutional recognition and government recognition has changed since then. It's a milestone change. So, I mean, I think a lot of people in the industry expected this rally to be different, given the fact a lot of institutions flooding in, and then the official recognition from, as a official asset class to be invested, through pension funds and all these big institution funds. So, I mean, the sentiment gain is even bigger than the market itself. So, but definitely there's going to be a different game from now, and a lot of risks still out there. So for retail users, a lot of people thinking, okay, now we probably will be controlled by, the US ETF funds, and then the crypto market going to be manipulated by the funds. So moving forward, there's a lot of things that I think we need to navigate. At this stage, you'll see that majority of the crypto, majority of Bitcoin still held by the individual and investors, like 11 million of crypto Bitcoin that's still held by individuals. So it's definitely gonna be something different, but I think the positive side is at this stage still like prevail the negative side from my perspective. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, thanks again to CoinW for making this happen. It's a great event in a beautiful space and a special time in this region as well. So that's beautiful. With regards to the ETF, I think some of the developments surprised me because it seems like some startups were working on this even before because they knew that it was coming.
Yeah.
So Founders Fund actually have a few projects in their portfolio that are, they started in 2022 and now
2022.
after the ETF was launched, they're already accumulating assets. So imagine digitizing the SPY and the money markets in the US and the ETFs themselves and bringing them onto the blockchain. So what we're starting to see now is that USDT was seen as some sort of a risk or a hedge for other regions in the world like Venezuela. But now you're bringing the money markets into it, which will make a lot more people to dump their own currencies and start investing in the ETF for more regulated assets, but on Ethereum. Because the way you're doing it now is you're basically swapping on Uniswap for US treasuries. That's what's happening. So
yeah, by the way, we'll definitely also talk about about Ethereum ETFs. But great, quick question: were you still expecting that it would happen right now in January? Because to be honest, my expectation at the time was still that they were going to delay it one more time.
Yeah, when BlackRock got in, that's when I thought it was going to happen because they have only missed one filing before. You know, they're too big to fail. So that was, I think, the marker for it.
Understood. Da Vinci.
Well, yes, thanks for having me. And as for the ETF, I was quite surprised that it was released in January. And the results have been also surprising for everybody. But now everyone around the world has an option to buy Bitcoin through their brokers and so forth, and put 10% of their wealth into Bitcoin and buy it sooner. Because a lot of people say, am I too late? At $72,000, you know what happens when it passes the all-time high. It doubles from there. We're going to see the price double. Yes, it's going to be a rocky road. Yes, there's going to be 20% retracements, but Bitcoin is going to do extremely well thanks to this ETF, of course. I'm really skeptical for the long term for the ETF, of course. Governments, when they run out of money, they obviously go and take yours. That's just the way it is. You can say no all you want, and fine. That's fine, you're right. They do give you some fiat currency, which they can print for that money. Here, oh, let me take that from you, and I'll give you some real money. So that's coming, right, to the ETF near you. So you might want to be careful about that. Whilst it does give you exposure to Bitcoin, it does not mean you actually hold Bitcoin.
That's actually what I wanted to ask you, Da Vinci. Knowing how you were like there were times you were practically, as they call it, Bitcoin idealist or Bitcoin maximalist. You were saying that only crypto, only Bitcoin in particular, you should hold in your wallet, your self-custodial wallet, definitely not in your own wallet, not provided by someone else's custody. This is what you were like saying earlier. But also, how do you feel about ETF? Because again, as you said, you don't exactly own the Bitcoin itself.
Yes, exactly.
So I was really curious about your attitude towards ETFs.
Well, I don't agree with them because they can actually be used. They can be cheat the people who actually purchase them. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, you are not promised any Bitcoins. So if you want to get your Bitcoins out of that ETF, you can, right? So you could always cash settle. So how far is it from them to just say, hey, you know what? why are we buying these Bitcoins? Why not we just buy the commodities exchange, right? Because everybody's cash settled anyways. So why are we buying Bitcoin, real Bitcoin? We could buy the fake Bitcoin on the COMEX, right? Which is just cash settled because, hey, everybody else is cash settled anyways out of the ETF when they want to sell. They can't actually take possession of Bitcoin. So right now, they're not doing that, of course. They are actually purchasing Bitcoin. There's only a few ETFs that do show that they have Bitcoin on their balance sheet. They show their wallet.
Which ones?
I can't name them right now, but I'll look them up, and I'm going to put them on my show. Yeah, it is. But most of them just store them at Coinbase, and Coinbase doesn't show who has what, which they can do. I mean, this has been done through a Merkle tree and so forth, and on many exchanges. So it's possible for them to do it. They just haven't done so.
Okay.
Something's up with that.
Thank you, Vinci. Well, actually, Sonia and Dr. Marwan mentioned earlier about criticism and risks. So let's talk about that, because I believe especially when, for those who are actually new to crypto, it obviously gives them much bigger exposure with Bitcoin ETF's approval. But nonetheless, as we discussed, there are some risks. Dr. Marwan, what are the major risks everyone who's new to crypto, they should, in this case, be aware of?
Of course, one of the biggest risks is price fluctuation as well. This is number one, but more particularly with anything in life, there is a risk kind of associated with it. And of course, one of the risks is not having the physical access to your Bitcoin is of course an obvious one, but also volatility. You're not knowing whether the institution holding your crypto is actually going to survive or not. We've seen a lot of these during the crypto winter. A lot of these companies actually went bankrupt, especially savings companies that are related to Bitcoin, which claim to hold your Bitcoins for you and give you APYs for your investment, basically. So whenever you entrust a third party, you have that third party risk exposure associated there. But also with holding your own wallet, there are risks. With holding your wallets on a digital, device, even if it's hardware, there is a risk right now as well. We've seen a lot of these attacks, like glitch attacks for wallets, hardware wallets as well. There's also collision space, even though that's extremely rare. Collision space kind of attacks. If you have a wallet that's weak in generation of the key pair, that not really truly random number generator, you have this inherent risk of somebody predicting your wallet, basically. But this is very slim, but could happen. So with everything in life, there's a risk. With ETFs, of course, they introduce this third-party risk.
By the way, if I may just add about this, we had recently an interview with CEO of Ledger, and it will be released shortly, encrypted podcast by the Blockchain Center. Definitely watch it, because in this case, Pascal Gauthier addressed all of those concerns. I asked him a lot of provocative questions, so I believe it will be interesting for you to watch.
Yeah, I think wallet abstraction will create a really good kind of leeway as well. We haven't talked about this as well. And I think this is one of the ways we'll have a mass adoption as well. So ETFs is one, wallet and account abstraction. This will help us tremendously, I think, in the mass adoption. But again, getting access, the positives is getting access to crypto to the layman or the mainstream person, and whichever way we can get that, I think it adds to the scarcity aspect of Bitcoin. And the more scarcity is, of course, the value goes up. So, and now we have the halving as well, which will make everything easier as well.
By the way, what are you expecting also, Carmen? What will be happening, Sonia, I'm sorry, what will be happening with the price of Bitcoin, first of all? And second of all, talking about criticism, let's start with that. You mentioned a lot of criticism is still going on. So can you please develop on that?
Yeah, price prediction. I mean, double should be easy, right? Like Da Vinci said, from here,
we already had.
I mean, yes. I mean, as a true crypto or Bitcoin believer, like, don't ask me for price prediction. Can be $500,000. That's what I believe. But from even last year, this time, I was telling. I mean, not a financial advice, and then I was telling my friend, as someone in the industry, especially we face a lot of data, on-chain, off-chain, exchange, everything, we saw how much people actually depositing more Bitcoin into the wallet. We also have a wallet under the CoinW group. And then how much outflow of USDT. So we sort of know because we serve some institutional clients as well. So we sort of already knew back then, by the end of the year, double should be easy because you see all these people start getting their USDT out and start, accumulating Bitcoin, and then the price is going to go up, right? It's just it's a certain, the supply is just that much. So I mean, if you ask me, I'll be like, don't sell, never sell. It's just gonna go up. The price just gonna go up because liquidity keep coming in, supply is so limited, and there are only 1.3 million out there to be mined, in the future for the whole Bitcoin supply. So it's just gonna go up, and that's just my prediction. About the risk side, I mean, from day one, investing in crypto space always has some risk. The risk doesn't come from the product itself. The risk comes from the barrier of knowledge. And then people really step into the wrong, scams or, lost their money, not because crypto, it's because of lack of knowledge. So don't put that wrong. A lot of media try to associate risk with crypto. That's not right. It's the knowledge barrier that creates all this trouble. So in traditional business or traditional finance, people can sort of avoid that because of the agency, the third party, the banking, and then but at the same time you're controlled by the bank. Your money is not your money. That's what we say, right? In the traditional financial or the fiat money world. So the crypto beauty is your money is your money. So you're the only one that's responsible for your money, and that gives the risk as well. So, and then the thing is, I think even with the ETF approval, I don't believe any individual, if you want to invest your individual money, you want to go through ETF. It's especially when the people in the industry are ready, because no point. You got to hold your own private key. You're going to hold your own Bitcoin. But the ETF is purely, I think it's a gateway for institutional money to have access and to flood into this asset. I mean, they have been formal for the last how many years? Because looking at individual people making money from crypto industry, and then they're like, why we're not on this train? And how are we going to bring our money in? They need the ETF to bring the money in. Otherwise, it's not compliance. They cannot use their pension money. They cannot use their investors like huge amount of money to make the money that they want. So of course, they're here to make money. So that's the risk that we got to watch out for. And then that comes to potentially, manipulation, like in the traditional financial market. Sometimes we don't even know. I don't even want to go back to GFC and what was happened back in 2008, and then how the market was really manipulated by Wall Street, but it is I think the positive side overpower the risk and everything, and then so the institutional money in is a potential risk for bigger fluctuation of the market, but at the same time, I think the whole industry is also building something structured like a traditional financial service. Retail users, you gotta have the retail users access and then trade, and then institution, you gotta go to OTC, you gotta go to institution desk, and you gotta go through your institutional brokers like Coinbase. They purely, 90% of institution focus, right? So that actually separate the institutional level of transaction and then the individual level transaction also sort of separate the risks, because sometimes like the institutional level over OTC transaction doesn't really create too much pressure on the market. It's behind the desk, and then it doesn't really create the pressure in the market. So definitely, I think with the regulation compliance and then also borrowing some of the structures that they have been successfully implemented in the traditional financial service, and then I think it's gonna form to a very well-structured crypto investment ecosystem. Yeah. I'm hoping. As part of the industry player, of course, we're hoping of the positive side. So that's just my intake on that.
Sure, Sonia, you're dealing with a lot with institutional investors, and in this case, more as far as I'm talking to some traditional financial institutions that I've been speaking to, that they are getting exposure to crypto assets more and more. Can you please maybe share their personal reviews? How do you see the Bitcoin ETF approval influences their view on crypto in general? even to those who were actually really skeptical, because we can still see how their stances are changing over time, how the Bitcoin ETF approval influenced them, and how many more have been already exposed, let's say, to crypto assets. Right?
I mean, within someone in the industry, we seriously never really thought about, okay, crypto is official now, is officially recognized because it has the advantage compared to the traditional system. But we need more adoption. We need more adoption from the Web2 world, the traditional liquidity pool, and then the industry and everything. ETF is the way for them to really start paying attention to us. I think that's a very, very positive move. Like one example, a lawyer friend of mine in Australia, like we've been friends for more than 10 years. He's a very traditional guy in a legal space and then does a lot of commerce law stuff, like 55 years old, never believed. He called crypto electronic coin. He's like, oh, you're in the electronic coin industry 2 years ago when I moved down to Dubai. He was like, are you sure? Like this is, sounds like very risky. And then about 2-3 weeks ago, he started calling me. He's like, you need to tell me how to invest in Bitcoin. so if someone like that starting calling me desperately and then ask me, how do I have to be on this train? And then one thing is, I don't want to say Australia is a bit behind in terms of like crypto investment and then Web3. It's a very traditional, it's in a very comfortable bubble. And then when someone in the traditional business has been very conservative and then at the same time, like never really put their money in shares or stock, like, okay, my money is safe in the bank. And then start thinking, okay, how can I be on this train? So that's something you see is happening. And then I think in the more developed world, the west side of the world, when the financial system is very, very structured, we are getting more attention from the traditional money, the general public, because everything happens in the structure in this part of the world. But some emerging markets, not too much impact because they're doing whatever they're doing already. They're taking advantage of this crypto, train already, like from a long time ago. And then the ETF not gonna do too much for them. But in the West world, I definitely agree. The official recognition to be officially a investment asset class within the institutional liquidity pool is definitely something. It's a game changer.
Thank you. Greg and Da Vinci, I would ask you, because you're also crypto educators, are you dealing right now with, let's say, are there traditional financial institutions that are asking for your advice regarding crypto or not?
Yeah, on our side at Crypto University, we have mainly been focused on retail for the last few years, but now we have seen a lot more institutions coming, asking for some sort of educational programs specifically for their stuff. So they would want to train their accountants on Bitcoin, blockchain, and everything around it. But interesting enough, the ETF so far has been Bitcoin approved ETF, but we're seeing more interest in Ethereum-based products.
Okay.
Or at least most institutions that we have known, they seem to be going towards the Ethereum path. So they sort of want to learn a little bit about it. And one of the reasons is that they think because Bitcoin was kind of an outcast before, you could not collateralize it for anything else. But very soon, I mean, now you sort of can, but most banks or governments haven't actually caught up to it. But soon you should be able to see people buying or getting loans from banks or getting mortgages and using your Bitcoin, your ETFs as collateral, because that is an institutional grade product. But then if you add Ethereum to it, you're now looking at other reward assets that will come into play that you can now be able to use them as collateral. So we have seen some companies that are already in the traditional world doing that, but now they want to learn more about, how Ethereum tokens work so that they can bring all that into the space. Yeah.
Da Vinci?
Well, I haven't been approached by any institution regarding crypto as of yet, personally, but I do see that coming in the future as they realize that crypto is going to be a big part of the economic system. Because they're going to need to know how to manage wallets, how to train staff and so forth on using crypto. So for example, I have my personal assistant and other staff members that I train on crypto. The problem is right now, the software we're using today, it constantly changes. And so that doesn't work very well for corporate America and corporations in general. Because they need to have some sort of fixed educational system and the software that stays the same so that they can keep their employees working and in that same box. And this is what they like about Bitcoin, is because Bitcoin is a protocol that doesn't change. If they program against it one way and leave that program running, they don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to stop working because some developer says, "Oh, I have an idea. I think this is even better." No, that's never going to happen with the Bitcoin protocol. So this is one advantage why they love Bitcoin. But that does happen to most other, I think every single cryptocurrency out there. They have hard forks on the network, and that could be detrimental for the actual crypto project, right? You've seen, like for example, sometimes online. I mean Solana, right?
Well, you can actually talk to Alex because he's also here from Solana. So I think it will be also interesting debate.
Yes. So yes. So I know Solana is SOL sometimes, right? When you're using it, but anyways, yeah. You can obviously corporations can't handle that kind of like downtime and issues and so forth, and so I see the future is with a cryptocurrency that is going to be solid and software that stays consistent with very little changes. As for your question about which ETF is, providing, basically they're opening up how much Bitcoins they have. It's Bitwise is the one that has, is the first one at least. And then their ticker symbol is BitB.
Okay, thank you so much, Da Vinci. Dr. Marwan, Dubai is a home for many also traditional financial institutions, if we take into account the DIFC, also the space for a lot of companies like this. Can you maybe also share some personal stories and reviews from those companies? They're right now looking, maybe they've been also skeptical to crypto. Are they looking into that right now more often? Because right now the game is not about that this is a risk, but you're kind of missing out. Do they feel like this FOMO? What can you say?
I think, look, it's still very early days in the crypto industry. No matter how excited we get, it's still extremely very early days. And a lot of people don't realize that our market cap is still under 3 trillion. We reached 3 trillion at some point in time, but that does not register anywhere significantly in the world. Still, the money system is huge.
Yeah.
The lending system is huge. Any of these products that come not with real liquid money is only a small portion of the market. And we have a subset of even that. Even with advent of DeFi and all these other kind of compounding products on top of the spot market, still a very small portion of the whole market. Still, and when we see things like ETF, which try to bridge that, still, we're considerably small because we are still limited by the supply, which makes it very, very interesting, but very actually lucrative, but introduces as well advantages. Things like, for example, that people get excited about, okay, there's ETF right now. We can do borrowing in the real world with Bitcoin as a hedge. Bitcoin seems to be one of the best performing assets in the history of mankind. So it is a good hedge. So let's try to start to build products on top of it. That's a good thing. That provides liquidity, that provides access to Bitcoin, that provides access to lending and borrowing and all these other kind of compounding kind of products that you can add, but also comes out with its own risk. So excitement is there within the IFC, especially for tokenizing real-life assets, within VARA for creating all these kind of sorts of on-ramp, off-ramp, OTC kind of offerings and opportunities and broker-dealers and bridging this two worlds of traditional finance and alternative finance with crypto. But again, we are super, super early, and it's only the beginning, and we'll see much, much more things happening, and it's going to get even more complicated than you think.
Thank you. Well, actually, I believe that especially those who are here, we're still really lucky, as you said, like to be early, because otherwise, if you will be late, by the way, please, for those who has joined us just recently, quick announcement. Please be attentive because there will be Q&A session and you may win a bike for your question. So please mind that. Now let's go to one of my favorite topics because as I mentioned today, regulations, I really like to talk about this, but at the same time, I truly support that in terms of regulating, especially this kind of innovative businesses, I believe they have to balance in this case. Where do you think regulations should strike a balance between fostering innovations in the crypto sector in particular and mitigating risks associated with digital assets? So how to, like your perception, your experience, please also share stories from your lawyers. That will be really interesting actually to hear. So who would like to jump in for this one?
Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, so I would say, I think in Dubai we are lucky, and the UAE in general, we are super lucky to have forward-looking regulators. We have the likes of VARA and ADGM and RACDAO as well. Each one of them literally offering a different kind of perspective on crypto and how to regulate it, and all of them are exploring. This is a new area. This is a new kind of fresh grounds, green field that we're trying to, set the standards, not only here in the region but worldwide, on how we should do this. It is an exploratory kind of thing, but we have something that a lot of other places and a lot of other jurisdictions don't have, which is a leadership that is willing to listen, willing to ask the industry, what do you want to, provide as a service? How do you hedge the risks? How do you provide a product that actually keeps the consumer's interest at the foremost of your business? The success of and the risk mitigation for the consumer should be intrinsic within your product, and having a good feedback loop and listening to the industry, listening to the consumers. We've had a couple of sessions in the past few weeks with the Dubai Digital Chamber, with a roundtable, with Chatham House Rules, with, I think Alex was there, a lot of other people as well. I think maybe Sonia, you were there as well. A lot of other industry leaders were there, and the regulators, all sitting in one table, nothing taboo. You can say whatever you want, you can ask whatever you want. And it was really, really interesting. And this is what you don't see in other jurisdictions.
For those who are not at that table, can you please share with us some major outtakes that might be really thrilling to hear to our audience?
So one of the major things, I cannot share everything that happened there because of the Chatham House.
What can be shared with the public?
But the energy, the amazement that they are really proud that they are part of this ecosystem and part of this journey. Most of the companies that were there, they were extremely positive and extremely happy with the approach. They just wanted to do it at scale. We really need to address the huge number of people who are coming here. We need to use things like AI. We need to use things like self-governing kind of tool sets. So we help the exchanges, the OTCs, and the broker dealers to really provide ways to where they can be compliant without having the auditors or any other, friction of people coming in and starting to, take away from them doing business or slow down them doing business. So all these kind of innovative approaches is how we are all about. But again, the conversation and this feedback loop is extremely important.
Amazing. Sonia?
Yes, regulation. So...
And also, you can also share
regulation, innovation.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a catch-21 sort of question. I agree. I mean, Dr. Marwan say the whole crypto industry is still at the early stage. You can see from the regulation side as well. A lot of countries, governments, and regions still don't know how to navigate and regulate the industry and still trying to find out and figure out what is a possible way to regulate that. But it's something, I think it's this bull run, something different is happening. You see government jumping in, regulators jumping in, and then when it comes to the UAE, we're just very lucky to be here. I think the methodology they are approaching it is very, very different when compared to other regions and countries. Like as an industry player, I mean, CoinW, we're a platform, we serve the general public, retail users. Of course, the regulation is gonna, look at us, and then every region and country we go, we feel like as an industry, the player in the industry, we try to push the industry forward. We try to push as aggressive as possible. And then the regulator try to pull you back to say, okay, you gotta be like this, this, that. So you're sort of feeling like in a lot of places, you're sitting across the other side of the regulators as the industry player, as the innovative part of the player, because that's what they do. They need to make sure, they need to understand 100% what's happening out there, and then before they actually put out a framework or anything. But the difference is in the UAE, especially in Dubai, we work side by side with regulators, and then the structure and then the approach that they're using is very different. They listen, and we also want to be part of it. And then this industry is so fast. Like you fall asleep, something happened, and a new chain coming out, and then a new token coming out, the market can go 30%. It's just happening too fast. If we really have to be pulled back by the regulators everywhere, it's definitely not the ideal way. But I think the way that they're doing in the Dubai with VARA, even with the free zones like the IFC and then ADGM as well, they all working quite progressively and work with the industry player like us. They listen to us. At the same time, we want to know what they want to achieve, and we be part of it. And then the most important thing is they listen. But it doesn't happen everywhere else in the world. Sometimes I even thinking I want to bring the regulators from Dubai around the world and do some sort of conference so they understand how to approach this sort of
We're
issues.
doing that as well.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, that would be very helpful to a lot of people in the industry.
By the way, that's a very good idea. Interesting. But Da Vinci, I would like definitely to hear your stance on regulations.
Well, I think regulation just destroys innovation because what it does is
Completely destroys, right?
Yes, because it puts everything in a box. For example, why can't retirement funds or pension funds buy commodities? Why can't your investment products, right, buy commodities? It's just ridiculous. You're saying, well, it's dangerous. Well, they have now ETFs to buy them. So it just prevents another kind of form of buying it, other than through ETFs, from coming to existence, right? No one can come up with something different because it doesn't fit inside the box that regulators want it to fit in. And so there could be something that's much better, a more convenient way for people to buy commodities, but that can't happen because of regulation, because they will prevent that more convenient way of existing. And this is the dangers of regulation. Regulation should only exist where, hey, if I do that and lose money, that I learn not to do that again. So that's just the way it works, right? I mean, you have to try and see what works, and then when you learn that it doesn't work that way, you move on and do something different. If we don't have that freedom, well, you know what, we stifle innovation, and that's why you see whenever society collapses and rebuilds again, we learn we do things totally different. So for example, did you know, like the Pantheon, right? It's a building in Rome. It's made out of concrete. Now, it's 2,000 years old. And what's interesting about that is that the concrete shouldn't last that long. It should have crumbled, fallen apart. And the reason why it doesn't is because what they did, how they produced that concrete is long gone. It's lost, right? So whenever we start all over again, we come up with new ways of doing things, and it might be better or it might be worse. And if it's worse, and we don't have a free market, we can't come up with the right way.
Okay, but I'll ask you this, because we have been observing, for example, until VARA was formed, some companies were coming to Dubai, and right now they have disappeared. So in this case, and by the way, until the time they would have to comply with VARA, they literally disappeared. So I'm just asking you this. In case if you're like, in this case, looking at the regulations that they're going only to stifle the innovation, but at the same time, they're the ones who helped some of those companies to disappear, because they would be continuing asking people in Dubai in particular to invest into those companies. So what in this case, what is your stance on VARA? Because we have been observing this also, multiple companies like this. I know personal stories, like multiple people where they were complaining to me about how they got burned, and this is what that makes them even Bitcoin ETF, looking at Bitcoin ETF, like they're still like really frightened because of the stories that they have personally encountered.
Yes, you're saying, well, regulation helps in a sense that prevents bad companies from existing. And yes, you could say that. And we could also say that certain laws, like for example, in America, the government can confiscate your money, confiscate your assets, and those assets are now.
That's why we're talking here about the balance. Like, don't get to the other side. We're talking here about like keeping investors' money safe, and we're talking about both retail and institutionals. Obviously, Bitcoin Spot ETF was not approved for retail investors, only for institutionals. But we here also to make sure that, let's say, both are protected.
Yes, I mean, I understand that that regulation can have positive effects, but
how to strike this balance? That's why we were like here. That is the question.
Yeah, the balance comes in through the free market. Basically, the free when there's a problem, the free market solves it. So, for example, when New York was flooded and there was gas prices were crazy high, they wanted to, put in a regulation preventing gas stations from selling gasoline at a crazy high price. Mm-hmm. But that's not a solution, because all you do is just people hoard it, and then there's a black market for gasoline. No, but if you have the free market decide, the free market actually solves the high prices, gets solved by the free market, people trying to find innovative ways to bringing the gas in. Mm-hmm. Well, the same thing applies here with regulation. When people are complaining about, oh my God, these people are like stealing me, I don't know where to go, I don't know how to, well, guess what? That is now a way for someone who's in the market to provide a quality product mm-hmm. that will show people how to determine what is bad and what is good. And now that's a new product in our economy that would have never existed if regulation was there.
Okay, I heard you. Agree.
Yeah, so with regulation, I mean, it's very important for some things and not really that useful for others. What seems to be the problem is that our regulation model mm-hmm. worldwide is based on compliance. So you asked before about the risk of ETFs, and one of the risks is that you don't know whether these companies are actually holding the real Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. But now, if Satoshi wakes up today and move 10,000 Bitcoins, everybody's going to know. Mm-hmm. Now, is that regulation or not? I think in the real world, that is regulation, right? It's transparency. You can basically verify everything that's happening. But if the ETF providers decides to collude and do something stupid behind the scenes, I mean, it's very easy for them to do it and walk away with it, because we don't know how much Bitcoin is behind it now. Mm-hmm. One can ask themselves, why would regulators allow that kind of discrepancy to be there? Like, Bitcoin can be verified on-chain. Mm-hmm. Why isn't that a requirement for all of them to expose their wallets so that we can all see them? The same with banks. I mean, we have seen banks collapse because of some shady stuff going on. One of the reasons for that is because we never know what is in the bank. Mm-hmm. There is no blockchain to verify it. So I think the push for compliance is a problem. If we really want regulation, we should we should be looking at what's the outcome that we want. Because you can be compliant and also be a shady company. FTX was a good example of it. Compliant, but they were the worst in the market. So, I sort of agree with much of what Da Vinci was saying. As long as we can sort of strip down the secrecy within regulation.
Understood. Da Vinci, did you want to add something here?
No, I think I was just saying that I was going to say that they're hiding that information and what they hold is so that they can later on scam. I mean that's the plain truth of it. I mean if the Bitcoin has a blockchain that shows you who has what, why not use it? And the only reason why is if you want to commit fraud later on. So.
Understood. Okay, Dr. Marwan and Sonia, in this case, I would like to share you the stories since we've seen after the event of Satoshi Roundtable, especially with the regulations in the US, a lot of crypto businesses, they're like looking at Dubai. What do you believe, and not only from the US, but like worldwide, what do you believe are the key considerations for those businesses that are looking to enter the crypto market in Dubai? How they can also navigate the regulatory requirements effectively, set up here effectively, do business properly, and again, navigate the regulations.
So I'll start with Dubai Economy and Tourism. We have a team in Dubai Economy and Tourism that actually does the hand-holding and soft landing for startups and big corporations that want to move to Dubai, and a special team that is dedicated to people who want to actually come into the market, into Dubai, and be based out of Dubai, whether they are founders or institutions or crypto players, exchanges, OTCs, whatever the business that is a service provider for virtual assets. We can actually introduce them to that team, and that team can help them in the soft landing here in Dubai, whether it is getting visas, whether it is choosing the right jurisdiction, choosing the right schools for their kids, finding investors, connecting them within the Dubai kind of ecosystem of crypto and otherwise. Anything they need basically to make their life easier and make them successful, we provide as Dubai Economy and Tourism.
Thank you. Please keep this in mind for everyone. Sonia, can you also share some stories? Because there are plenty of companies. I heard like so many companies asking about Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given the fact that our company start off from Asia Pacific region, we actually do see a lot of demand and requests from client side. They want to settle down in Dubai as a Web3 business. Like from Hong Kong, traditionally they go to Singapore, used to be Hong Kong and a bit of Japan. But now I think definitely Dubai is taking the lead in terms of welcoming the Web3 business, make as much convenience as much possible for them to really be in here and then be compliant. But at the same time, we do see like a lot of people just jump on so easily without really navigating what is needed to in settling the business in here, because as progressive as the whole UAE in the crypto space, the compliance and regulatory framework can be a bit of complex as well, because we got 7 Emirates, and then we also have the federal level of regulator, ICA, and then we also have the free zone that have their own regulations like DFC and then the ADAGM, and then we also have VARA. So it can be a bit complex, depends on what you do, like if you use your tokens or you're serving the general public or you're working as advisory. There are quite a lot of different scope and different framework that you got to go after and look up and then just watch out for before you really start doing business here. Because I think Dubai itself make it very easy for a Web3 business to come in and start doing something. Like Dr. Marwan said, they have the team that can really, bring you down and then register business and then help you to really settle down, like with your, even family, your kids' school and everything. It's just super easy, which is amazing. Like you attract all the talents coming here, you attract all all the money flow and the investments and team, everything. But at the same time, when it's so easy, and then you just forget, okay, what I need to do before I actually doing this sort of things. And until later stage, and then the regulators come asking questions, have you done this? Have you done that? And then that can be a bit more costly to fix the problem afterwards. So I would definitely say, because the regulatory framework is a little bit complex, but at the same time, it's clear, guided. If you talk to the right person, the right entity, like we have a lot of Web3 lawyers in this room, I believe. And at the same time, you can just directly approach them, like the blockchain, Dubai Blockchain Center, even Vara themselves, they're very open-minded. You can even just talk to them directly and ask them what I need to do. They'll give you the help, they give you the guidance. So I think that's the beauty about, being in here.
100%. So if you approach the Dubai Blockchain Center, they can help. If you approach Vara, they will help. You'll get all the pathways leads. Yeah, you'll get everything. Every path leads to Rome, so to speak.
Yes, thank you.
Wouldn't you consider it easier than most places, like probably easier than North America, right? To set up a business here.
Going forward, do you expect to see more cryptocurrency ETFs, as far as there have been many talks of Ethereum ETF? And in this case, I would like to ask Gray first. How do you think they may transform our global landscape, both financially and otherwise? And Gray, I would like you in this case, because you mentioned more about there is demand for Ethereum.
And I want the price prediction for Ethereum as well.
Okay, I think I'm the wrong person to ask an Ethereum prediction. It would be so ridiculous.
Ethereum ETFs, let's start from that.
Okay, so with the ETF, I don't think people understand how huge the Ethereum ETF is going to be and the type of liquidity that's going to come here. So I've been trading OTC for a number of years for different tokens, mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT. But when it comes to other tokens in this region, most people cannot invest in all these other stuff that people buy into because of religious beliefs and other things. Whereas the traditional assets are accessible to pretty much everyone. So almost every Emirati citizen could probably invest in, say, 90% of the American money markets because they're regulated and they're not breaking any religious laws, et cetera, et cetera. So imagine taking all those assets, bringing them onto Ethereum, and you can simply access them through a swap on Uniswap. That will bring a lot of liquidity from family office, small hedge funds, and even just individuals straight up. So I think that is going to be the moment where this whole talk of tokenization, it used to be thought of as some kind of a futuristic narrative, or at least how people thought digitization was, or tokenization. They thought you take a real estate portfolio and then you digitize it, and then you have to deal with how you're going to sell that, right? So the regulators were thinking, how do we go about this? But now what is happening is that you're taking an already regulated asset class or an asset and basically just bringing them on chain and letting others to come in. So you can think of the Middle East or the Global South. Most of these areas are so thirsty for American or foreign asset classes or foreign currencies. So with this now, you need, right now you do need a brokerage to work with to have access to all this. But with the Ethereum ETF, there will be a lot of tokenization, which means all you're going to need is buy Ethereum, get on Uniswap, and then have access to whatever you want. Whether you want the US bonds, probably it's going to be the UAE markets as well, and several other things. So I think it will bring a lot of liquidity more than people expect.
Da Vinci, short answer if you wanted to add.
Well, for the ETF for
Other
Ethereum?
yes.
Well, I think that the odds of that happening is probably low at this point. From what I'm reading, I'm hearing that there's the chances of them approving that is not likely, but you know what, they will get approved eventually. And it will be the same thing. I mean, you won't be able to do anything with that Ethereum, but the whole point of having Ethereum is to actually, use it as gas fees for other projects, for contracts on the Ethereum network. But it's interesting, these ETFs, I haven't read this prospectus for the Bitcoin ETF, which I'm going to do. Probably I'm going to try to do this weekend. But if you read the gold ETF, one of the things that's interesting about the gold ETF is it states that if the custodial doesn't have the gold that they say that they have, that's not their fault, the ETF provider's fault. It's your fault. You have to deal with it. You have to sue them. And you might say, okay, fine, I'll just sue them for fraud. But chances are, right, they will just, go, okay, well, I'll get a bailout from the Federal Reserve and get you some dollars for that, right? So that's what we're going to probably end up with eventually down the line with the Bitcoin ETF. I don't think that's happening now, but eventually that is going to happen, because why can't they show us how much they've got, right? So that there's no fraud.
I see. So as I promised, right now we have less than 10 minutes. I'll give the audience the chance to win a bike. By the way, I prepared also additionally rapid fire questions. 2 more I'll ask you, but before I'll give the chance to the audience, the best question, somebody who will ask the best question, they will win a sports bike. Okay, we have, oh my God, 10 minutes won't be enough, probably.
We have a good classroom in here.
That's
Students
amazing.
are so good.
But by the way, there will be still 2 more panels, so you'll be able actually to ask more questions as well. Mirko.
Hey, this is a question for Dr. Marwani. So we're talking about the Ethereum ETF. I think the quorum is that it's not going to get approved. So if you look at prediction market, it's 70 versus 30% chance of getting approval. If indeed it won't get approved, what do you think is going to happen with the market, with the price?
I don't think it's going to have a huge effect right now. Of course, the price is spiking like crazy, but also we have the Ethereum fork as well. That might be exciting some people. For me personally, I bought into Ethereum again because of the fork that's coming up and the potential of how that's going to improve the whole scalability issue with Ethereum. I think scalability is still the number one issue to address. I think the Ethereum ETF will be just icing on the cake, but again, hearing what Gray had to say, it might be much more, in store for that. But nevertheless, I think Ethereum will grow much, much bigger than we think, and that's why I wanted the price prediction. There's going to be a lot of things that are built on top, a lot of the things that are associated with gas fees and solves that intrinsic problem within Ethereum. If that happens, even 10% of that happens, I think it's going to cause really good positive, and you have, of course, the network effect. You'll have a really good positive outcome for Ethereum and everybody who's developing on top of that chain.
Next question? Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
Alex?
Sure, may I?
Alex, yeah. We will give the chance, I hope, to everyone.
I think
We'll keep the answers short.
Yes.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for a really engaging discussion. Super interesting. I hope it's a motorbike, not a bicycle. But
Okay.
my question is, we're all very bullish. There's a lot of reasons to be excited. What are the reasons to be bearish right now? Risks that we're not thinking about in this kind of euphoria?
I think compounding products right now is one of the things that scares me because people borrow. We've seen a lot of liquidations actually in the DeFi space in the past few days because of the price action. So that's a risk that is there. Sometimes positive for you is a negative for somebody else. A lot of people who are hedging a lot of their borrowing against crypto also could be risky. Of course, I think products like options, compounding products are all like scary stuff, and I don't advise people to get into it. I think stay a bit safe. Don't get caught up in this whole rush, and be wary of meme coins as well because they could dump on you any second.
Next question.
So yeah, I have them. Hello.
What should happen in the world?
And you may also say to whom this question is addressed, so please just say it. Yeah.
This is the question for Da Vinci. What should happen in the world or in financial system that can influence on a mass adoption of Bitcoin? And what are the chances that Bitcoin someday become the international cryptocurrency?
Okay, so you're asking what will actually influence it in a positive way or a negative way?
In a positive way.
Okay, so basically what would influence it in a very positive way is if we can produce a second layer for Bitcoin, which is going to be very difficult because Bitcoin, the way the protocol is designed, someone has to be responsible for the crypto. If that can come to fruition and where we could have Satoshis as the main denominator, or even less, divide even Satoshis into smaller amounts. I think because we've seen what happens with the meme coins, you'll see the same kind of thing happen with Bitcoin if we can give people like 1 billion units of like even Satoshi's divided into billion units. People will buy that and dream about it becoming $1 one day. That would change the landscape huge for Bitcoin if that was possible. I'm looking into designing something like that because I'm a software developer. But that's the key problem there is that there always has to be someone responsible for transferring transferring Bitcoins to the people who take it off the chain, off the secondary layer. So who's going to be responsible for that? If you have a person responsible, then you have a risk of someone actually attacking that individual.
Thank you. Next question.
So, okay. All right, this question...
We need to keep them short because we have 3 minutes. Yes?
So yeah, I have that mic right here, left. Hello, right here.
Yes?
Okay, all right.
But ask whom,
Oh, okay, no, this is for all the distinguished guests on stage today, so...
we don't have time for, everyone to answer, unfortunately. So please choose one.
All right, let's say eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll go with Sonia, I guess.
Not a good option because I talk a lot. That can extend this conversation too much.
So I guess the question to you, given that you're in the industry at all, is, and I've been kind of taking notes throughout the event, is given the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency altogether, playing, with the ETFs coming out, where the foundation principle and the decentralized are kind of now coming into a place where they're kind of meeting head to head altogether, where do you see the role of DAOs and reshaping everything and the conversation going future, and what is something that we can expect kind of in the future, especially between now a new relationship between ETFs, financial institutions, and DAOs and exchanges all coming together?
I think
very complex question.
I think by this time we just need to gather questions.
Something simple, please.
What I'm suggesting, let's gather questions one by one, and I'll ask CoinW team to definitely record that.
Maybe I can talk to you later.
Yes, and we can later on because we are still pressed for time. So question one.
Okay, so as long as that question gets added to the bang for the bike, I'm happy, okay? So.
Okay, no, it will be added because as I said, here's the contest for the question, not for the answer. So please give a mic.
All right, here's one right here. Here's one irrelevant to the bikes completely, and it's for Dr. Marwan and Sonia. I've been taking a notes, and actually Gray made a great point on how we're all talking about regulations and everything, yet banks and institutions are still intransparent, and FTX was fully regulated, and look what happened. Bitcoin initially was engineered as peer-to-peer decentralized currency, yet we're here discussing Bitcoin ETF. So please, Dr. Marwan, Sonia, tell me, what do you think needs to happen? What can we do so all of this does not become a horrible exit up against guys like your lawyer friend calling it electronic money, and yet pushing them even further, scaring them away from the market, and destroying the whole idea of decentralization? Thanks.
Just give him the bike.
Okay, but we still have
It's not about the
competition.
bike, I said from the
We
very
have, yes,
Why?
gentlemen
Right
in
here.
black.
I don't need a bike, by the way. All right, I just want to.
No. Everyone is
Right.
participating.
I don't need that.
FYI.
So basically, this question to the our friend in. My name is Jason from New York City, Da Vinci, and also Gray. If you can answer a simple question, we always talk about Bitcoin still early, but Tesla was founded in 2003. It changed the world with a real product. iPhone was released in 2007 with a real product, changed the world. OpenAI was founded in 2015. ChatGPT changed the world within 3 years. Bitcoin white paper was released in 2008, and now we are 2024. We are still early. Now, most of the so-called blockchain product, doesn't matter if it's a layer 1, layer 2, wallet, Ordino, decentralized, centralized exchanges, all related to issuance of the token, transferring of the token, or trading of the token. I was doing a little research about this and did not find out an answer. Maybe you can help me with this. Can you name one blockchain application or project that has changed the world with a real product, but not related to transferring the token, trading of the token, or issuing the token? You don't have to convince me I own more than one Bitcoin, so I'm a holder. I just want to find out whether we have a real product on this thing. Thank you.
Want us to answer that now, or? Wow.
Okay, we have two, in this case.
Two bike potential.
In that case, okay, do you want to answer anything?
Yeah, a quick one, yeah?
Yes.
So, yeah, for sure. I think out of all the things you say, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the ones that actually have solved some real problems. So you have billions of dollars being traded on Ethereum, not only trading for... You're right. When I say trading, it just means, it can be smart contract is basically a trade, right? It's a transaction. But there are games that are running on Ethereum in some kind of way. There is art on it. Bitcoin is transaction because it was meant to be money, right? It was meant to be a store of value or a medium of exchange. So there's a whole, you should ask Russians about this. They'll probably tell you that when they got sanctioned, they use Bitcoin. So there are some applications that are minuscule, but I do agree with you that all of these blockchains basically are just narratives with very, very little to offer in the reward. But Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think, do have real value going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
All right,
bottom line, Bitcoin is the new money. It was invented as money, and it has accomplished that perfectly. It's better than gold, right? Gold was the first money. Probably something else, of course, but it was the best money, gold, and then we went to paper money, and then credit money, and now we have Bitcoin as money, a ledger as money, which is immutable and fixed, and no one can tamper with it, right? So this is the product that is the killer app, is being able to transfer your wealth anywhere. I can't believe I went to the United States with a lot of money all up here, right? So, and they didn't stop me. They didn't try to, hey, you can't do that. Now imagine if I did it with physical money or physical gold. In fact, here, I was stopped with all my gold. When I came to move here, I had a lot of gold, and they stopped me. And it was only the fact that the person, the custom agent said, hey, you're Da Vinci, that I was able to get to walk through with all that gold. Okay, so there it is.
Hello.
One more
Can
question.
I just quickly say something about this as well? Just one thing. Yes, I think Bitcoin is a real use case for anything that you believe in, hold what you have, what you own. I was asking a friend of mine the other day. I said, if you had $1 billion today, where you want to put your money in? Do you want to buy real estate? Do you want to put in US dollars, or you want to, I don't know, in gold? What else? I think for me, I feel the safest if I buy Bitcoin, and that's the use case for me. It's my money. I can liquidate anytime I want, and it's safe, and it's easy to access, easy to carry. And that's a real use case.
Yeah.
All right, so this question I think should be for Da Vinci. He told us so. His one is going to be here before all of us. So my question is related to market cycles. I won't ask no price predictions because it's impossible to do that. You can only do maybe day trading every day, but not predict price in 1-2 years. But here's the thing. So right now we have huge actors in the space. We add miners, we have institutionals right now. Retail is always at last being used, I think, right now in this market cycle as exit liquidity. Right now we have BlackRock, which has invested in 4 of the 5 biggest mining companies. In previous market cycles, we have big price retracements before the halving. This didn't happen in this case. Small retracement price came back up immediately. So since the halving is used as a FOMO event, do you think right now market cycles are going to be completely different and be using retail liquidity as exit liquidity for these big companies? You know, institutional investors, they are not used to this type of ROI. They are already in a huge ROI. They own these mining companies. I think, and it's just like my speculation, that halving and market cycles are going to be changing completely, and retail traders are going to be used such as a big exit liquidity. What do you think about market cycles right now? We have the experience with gold ETFs. 2004 gold ETF, huge rally. But right now it's different because crypto exposure is for everybody. But these institutional guys, they hold the entire game. They are creating their own assets. So what do you think about market cycles, Da Vinci?
Yeah, I think the market cycles have changed and they will change going forward. Things will be different because, of course, of the production curve of Bitcoin, and that will change a lot of things going forward. And eventually, Bitcoin will, be like the US dollar, fluctuating 2% per year or something like that. Eventually, that will come. So hopefully, you'll have all your Bitcoin by then, and you will, own a lot of wealth. So that's coming. That's the real prediction, is just buy Bitcoin, hold it for that day that it's actually money and everybody's trading with it. And it's right now only 2.7% of the population that's in there.
Please preserve your next questions for our next panels. Just to finish on a light note, our conversation, I'll ask you rapid fire questions. Please answer 1 or 2 words, okay? 2 more. On a scale of regulators on vacation to regulators in turbo mode, how do you rate the current pace of regulatory developments for Bitcoin ETFs? Regulators in turbo mode, regulators on vacation. From 1 to 10, let's say.
For me, it's around 7, I would say.
Okay, so it's like closer to turbo mode, right? Okay, Sonia.
Less than 5.
Okay. Da Vinci?
Well, it depends on where, right?
We're talking about like Middle East, we're talking about UAE.
Oh, if we're talking about the...
But yeah, in this case, if we're talking about Bitcoin ETFs, we have to take into account the US first and foremost.
Okay, so if we're talking about the UAE, I would say 6, right? Closer to turbo mode.
Okay.
And for the United States, I would say they are at 5, right? Because they only wake up when they need to.
Okay, great.
I would say the UAE maybe 6.6, and in the US maybe 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, worldwide, if Bitcoin ETF approval were a race, would you think it would be more like a marathon or a sloth on a treadmill? Just to finish, yeah. Is it more like
I would say closer to a sloth right now.
Sloth, okay. If we would compare Bitcoin ETF approval to a race, would you call it more like a marathon? I'm talking about worldwide again, because we're comparing like all of the Bitcoin ETFs approvals everywhere. Like a marathon or sloth on a treadmill?
Treadmill.
Okay.
A sloth.
Okay, and?
Well, it was a sloth, and now it's going to turn into a marathon worldwide because the United States. Once the United States approves it, everybody's a race to prove it. So you're going to see it turn into a marathon.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Please give a big hand to our amazing panelists today. Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni, Sonia Shaw, Gray Jabesi, and Da Vinci Jeremy. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy our next panels as well.
I was part of the second cohort of hubs. So the GCC hub was of the 10th in the top 10 hubs to be established first. So there was definitely at the beginning foresight to the UAE being that ecosystem and a significant ecosystem. That being said, you know, maybe another way to look at it is that in terms of where we've gathered different hubs in one place and where we've also had visits from our founder, Dubai is probably in the most active one in terms of the speaking opportunities that we've had and the adoption that we've been driving on the project side as well.
For us, again, the focus has shifted. So we had a big presence. We still have a big presence in the US, but in terms of ecosystem and developer community, we're now looking a lot into GCC. We're looking into Asia. So I think that's kind of comes with the regulatory environment as well a bit in general, like what the Web3 is seeing in terms of focus shifting, right? But yeah, it's definitely becoming one of the main focus area, UAE as well.
Yeah, I think like 2 years ago, UAE was considered definitely interesting, but absolutely not a priority. And now is higher up in the top priority jurisdictions. And also something that is also helping to make the UAE and the GCC areas more interesting is the fact that how more miners also are relocating into the area, and this is I mean, I really believe that the GCC and the Middle East will be bigger for mining than the US in a few years, because the competitive advantage here is so significant because of cheap energy, but also much better relationship with the regulators. While in the US they talk about putting a taxation on miners, here the regulators are trying to attract miners and are understanding the advantages that they can bring also to the energy ecosystem, energy grid of the respective countries, and that also then will help also to other companies that are not mining related in the ecosystem to flourish, because miners need all kind of services. They need on ramps, off ramps. They need the talents. So I think this will be another accelerator to make the UAE and the GCC even more interesting for any industry player in the future.
I think the Web3 is kind of interesting because like we all work remote in a way, but people still kind of gets attracted to certain hub, and it's very organic, you know. It's not something artificial. It's just like people decide, okay, this is where we want to go, like based on various things, regulation, environment, and so on. But yeah, that's something I really like about the Web3. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just moved here like about 3 months ago now, and it's just that the opportunity cost of not being here is that, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Southeast Asia, you know, I like Bali, I like Thailand, I like being on the beach, you know, but like ultimately I'm not going to meet like my next business partners, my next clients, my next, you know, people that I'm collaborating with, unlikely there. Whereas here, you know, I'm down the gas station at 3 a.m. and I've literally done like a really big deal with somebody that I met like at the gas station, you know, like, and like, even, you know, people overhear you in the coffee shops, and then oh, you're in crypto as well. It's like, yeah, what do you do? And then suddenly you're collaborating. It's really, really crazy. And I always tell people that as much as I like, you know, some other areas in the world as well, but like just every day that I'm not here, I'm potentially not meeting those people, those clients, those companies that I want to do business with. So it just makes sense for me to be here. But yeah, speaking of budgets, I know Super Team run like big. Is it parties or events in the villa, in the private villa? And I've seen it on Telegram, but I haven't been yet. So is that part of the budget as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the people came to the party. I think, look, it's we don't want to get like carried away with these things, but it's important to have fun as well. It's not like you work hard, but then you also need to blow off steam. And a lot of these deals happen over shisha, coffee, a beer, if you're inclined. It's important to have that space as well, and I think we make that a big part of what we do.
Awesome.
Shout out to Solana. So their tech is a bit clumsy, let's say, but like their community is top notch.
Ooh, shots fired there. All right, well, look, I've been told to keep this at 35 minutes, so I'm now going to ask the audience, as Chris Tarrant would say. And so, yeah, look, we've got a bike up for grabs, guys, so please put your hands up and ask my wonderful panelists some great questions. So where should we start? here in the middle.
Yes, Sonia, I'm looking at you. Ironically speaking, I mean, technically this question is going to be to my elevator buddy, Frederica Tenga. We came up here together. And Mirko, you two guys. Like, ironically speaking, my question to the next panel is like a crypto in a miniature. I got a bike, but I didn't get an answer. And I'd still like to get an answer. I guess you guys are, you know, hopefully going to get it from a, yeah, right, thanks, man. Get to it maybe from a technical side, right? I mean, we're talking like an actual serious decentralization. Sorry, Alex, that's why this question is not for you. We are talking about, you know, an actual, maybe even from like Dubai community being a superior, you know, one of these hypothetical, you know, superior version 2.0 communities. Maybe those would be the answer why we can actually get, you know, Bitcoin towards the decentralized money, you know, solution, why we can get guys like Sonia's friend calling this electronic money, not being scared of it, coming to it, using it, supporting it all the way.
What is the question?
So the question is, how can we address that? You know, what would be the solution maybe from the developer side, maybe from the Dubai community side showing the rest of the world? How do we make it so Bitcoin ETF or, you know, anything what's going on right now in the crypto is not gonna become an ultimate exit upon the liquidity providers such as Sonia's lawyer friend who calls it electronic money?
I think builders have to focus on what they do best, right? Which is building amazing things. And it's like one of the problem with crypto is that we always kind of get dragged away from all this noise about pricing and what's happening in the regulators and so on. But I think like builders should just focus on continue building an amazing shipping stuff.
Yeah, I think at the end, yeah, I mean, of course, there are the speculators that just are happy about the ETF and are waiting for, I don't know, 100K or whatever number to get a nice exit. But at the end, Bitcoin and other crypto, they are able to create value. Maybe it's not value for everyone, but there are a lot of people that need it, but still don't know about it, that will benefit from using it, but they're still not doing it. And why they're still not doing it? Because it could be of different reasons. First of all, maybe the technology is not good enough, it's not user-friendly enough, it's not cheap enough. There are some problems there. So yeah, building and improving the tech and the products on top of it is a step in the right direction. Second reason could be it's too complicated. So maybe education could be the way to get more people to understand that there is a solution to your problem and you can use this. And also maybe the fact that not everybody needs it right now, but they will need in the future. So there are many people that I mean, didn't need Bitcoin or crypto until a few years ago, but now because of geopolitical instability, they understood that actually that is a solution to a newfound problem. And when you understand it's a problem, then maybe education is not even an issue. Like you learn overnight. I mean, you heard of people that following the Russia-Ukraine war in there are like older people that overnight that they learn how to buy Bitcoin and to use it to solve the issue that they had. So yeah, I think like some people to build and to do education and everything. So that is an important part. But yeah, at the end there is utility. We need to make sure first of all that all the people that have this that needs Bitcoin will use Bitcoin, that needs crypto will use crypto, and that will be like if we achieve that, it means that we grow adoption at least like by a few orders of magnitude just with that.
Any other questions?
Vlad right here.
Hi, Ivan here. The question to Mirko. Like 2 days ago, that happened something with my MetaMask. Like I tried to swap something for
not technical support.
No, that's not just from the particle stuff. Like I'm at the crypto 8 years. I'm like study robotic engineering and not big deal, but like I swapping something for 500, yeah, and that the gas fee are crazy, so it was 150. And if I swapping this, just take my transaction, just take my fee, was not wrote inside the blockchain, and I didn't see this, and just take my fees and nothing happened. Do you thinking bringing there some function like insurance for this? Because if you get there like plus 5–10%, okay, it's no problem, not big deal, but the people who swapping this small money can be assured that transaction coming and does not happen again, because I was not anyone who happened, you know.
I think that's one of the challenges in general with blockchain, right? Especially with gas fee and so on. There is some new solution coming up with account abstraction and the way that transactions are processed. If you want, we can chat more later.
Yes, of course, because for example, the developer Arc from the Hitopia, if they make the transaction, they make some insurance like 5%, 10% more, and is not big money. Like if take $5–10, not big deal, but $115, $500 is like you are really sad that you don't have a coins, you don't have a transaction, and that's it. We can chat. And second question to Alex. Like, why the Solana didn't do a more after party after the hacker house? I'm from the music industry. I play few.
Which hacker house?
Yes, I played.
Maybe you just weren't invited. Sorry.
No, I was on your hacker house, but 2022, I played for the Barcelona party, London party, Miami party. That was biggest after party, and that's not happening anymore. And I'm sad like a DJ that I can be a part of, like from.
Come
the
in
music
April.
world.
I'll show you. 15th,
Okay.
16th. There'll be good parties.
Okay,
I will say also next time you do the swap, just do it on Solana, man. What are you doing? $150 for a swap is a joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, but
one
okay.
1/100th of a penny on Solana.
Yes, I support all the chains. I'm in the 37 chains. So
You have to pay for quality. You're in Dubai, you should know.
okay, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Vlad,
right here.
I think we've got time for one more question.
One more here. Vlad from Cryptocurrency. Yeah, shout out guys for the beautiful panel. Everybody is quite bullish on blockchain ecosystem in Dubai because you have a massive presence here for the brands. You can go there and communicate with the people. Tons of brightest minds coming here to build the next big tech companies of tomorrow, whatever. May I ask you, what do you think is a potential pain points that are not solved yet in Dubai for the blockchain companies, for the Web3 natively born companies? Because we slightly touched the topic of VC capital is not that much developed as in US compared to the bigger market. And also climate, because I mean, half a year you live here, you're trying to do some things here, you're getting, massive presence and working out the database, laying off the fundamentals. But then half a year you're just cooling off somewhere in Asia, across the globe because of the climate. What do you think, the first question, as a potential pain points that you would suggest to liquidate in some way or another? And the second question to pick up is how Dubai and the blockchain ecosystem becomes the leading gateway for the Web2 off-chain businesses that are not sort of Web3 native. Thank you so much, folks.
I can hit two: capital, regs. Capital, there's some seed stage investing going on, but not a lot of growth stage, and I think we need to unlock a lot of money that's tied up in family offices. We could do that through education, explaining real-world use cases, compelling narratives that will resonate with that audience. I'm hosting such events, so if you want to get involved in that, you have a willing partner to work on that. And then two is regs. It's very complicated here. There's 100 free zones, multiple regulators at different levels at the federal and jurisdictional level. So navigating that is quite complicated. We do need good people. There are some, but we need more people really good, well-versed in laws and regs to help founders navigate that, because it's very easy to go down the wrong path.
On the capital side, the way I'm seeing it, the sovereign wealth of the UAE has been investing in tech for quite a while, but they've been investing outside of the UAE. In the past 2 to 3 years, that mandate has changed, and they are now specifically focusing on tech companies that are based here in the UAE or that are doing something for the UAE's ecosystem. So from the perspective of capital, that is already somewhat being addressed and put in motion. From the perspective of Web 2 to Web 3 use cases being led from the UAE. I think the UAE is one of the best places in the world to do so because of the regulatory acceptance and the governmental acceptance of crypto and of blockchain. I should rather say blockchain specifically, because governmental services and so on have been running for the past couple of years, 3 to 5 years, on blockchain. You've got the Dubai blockchain strategy and the Emirates blockchain strategy that was published first back in 2016 and then reiterated back in 2020. That has mandated that all governmental services will somewhat run on a distributed ledger, and a lot of these things are already in place. If you're, part of the Emirates ID and UAE Pass, for example, is on a distributed ledger, and a lot of people don't even know this. But once that is a little bit more publicized and it's a little bit more known and aware, I think the UAE will definitely trailblaze in being the breeding ground for this Web 2 to Web 3 transition.
LPG.
Okay, guys, look, that's all we have time for today, so I'm going to wrap this up. If any of you guys would like to speak to our guests, I'm sure we'll step outside for 5 or 10 minutes, but we've also got another great panel coming up, so please do stick around for that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Let's put our hands together.
Thank you for the second panel, Mr. Aaron, Alex, Saad, Mirko, and Federico. I would like to welcome on the stage our CCO, Mrs. Carmen Tan, who will be moderating the third panel, Navigating the Web3 Landscape in UAE, Investment, Insights on Investments, Funding, Licensing, and Beyond. Ms. Carmen.
Thank you. Hello? Yep, my mic is working. Okay, perfect. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carmen, Chief Communications Officer from CoinW, and today I'm really glad to be moderating the panel today. We have previous panels been talking about how great is this environment and how is the regulatory shaped. It's not? Okay. How is the regulatory body shapes Dubai, a place that is very good to nourish the projects or newcomers or people who has been here for some time. But in my panels, in today's panels, we wanted to hear some successful stories and also some startups and from people who has been enriched in these industries to share their insight. Okay. Myself, I have been actually in Dubai for 10 years. Yeah, it used to be a hidden gem, but now the gem has been really shined all over the world that everyone has come to Dubai. Okay. Before that, I was used to be in traditional finance industry, forex. So I earned myself regulations and certifications, AG146. It's used for management, investment management, security, derivative, and so much more investment related. And also I do have anti-money laundries and CETF compliance certification. So I'm really glad that we see this new horizons industry, which is crypto, that can applicables into what the finance industry has been inherited for us. And we see how these qualities can bring forward and to shape these Web3 industries for a better landscape. Okay, so welcome to our panel discussion today, which is navigating the Web3 landscape in the UAE. So first, I would like to welcome Ms. Karis. Ms. Karis, she brings expertise from Animoca Brands, a leading company in blockchain, gaming, NFTs, where she contributes to pioneering development and the intersections of entertainment and decentralized technologies. Yeah, sit the next one. Right. Next, we have Bilal. Bilal, please. Bilal is a key figure at DMCC, where he played a pivotal role in shaping the regulatory landscape and fostering innovations within the UAE ecosystem, particularly in the area of relating to investment, funding, and licensing. So we have Vadim. but in which he represents crypto media capitals, the venture capital sectors leveraging his experience, insights to identify nurtures promising Web3 startups in the UAE while strategically allocating resources to maximize the growth and impact. Okay. We have Joe joining us today. Yep. Joe, yeah. He is at the forefront of HyperBC, a dynamic player in the blockchain space, specializing in solutions that enhance accessibility, usability for user business alike, navigating the complexity of Web3 and the visions. So last but not least, we have Mauritius. Yeah, please join us. Mauritius, the host of renowned Mr. M podcasts, bring a unique perspective to our discussions, offering valuable insight, garnering from conversations, thought leaders, and innovators across global Web3 landscape, enriching our dialogue with his deep understanding, emerging trends, and opportunities. Welcome all. Okay, without delays, let's start today. Questions. Okay. So actually, what we like to know in the UAE, we wanted to hear some successful stories, you know? Yeah. So what actually makes Animoca brands in the current investment market trends in the UAE? Let me try. It's on? Yeah.
Hello. Oh, cool. Hello, everyone. I'm Karis from Animoca Brands. I'm a director in the capital markets team. Animoca actually just came to the region 7 weeks ago. So I just landed 7 weeks ago. We originally came here because we actually received investment from a Saudi investment fund, a PIF entity, and we were establishing our entity and license over there. Of course, Saudi Arabia has a very large gaming community, and it's very attractive for Animoca. In saying that, the UAE is exactly the same. So it's very easy to raise capital here, that's one side, but it's much easier to do business here. And I did hear a couple of the panels speak about the undercurrent of Dubai is this constant BD relationship. Every person that you meet, whether it's at a coffee store or elsewhere, will kind of always want to do something with you in some realms. So for us at Animoca, we are crystallizing what our strategy will look like within the UAE, but we are very, very excited. There is a large gaming community here, but we are also investing in sourcing deals, and I can go into detail about that, or we can talk about it later.
And continue,
okay.
Of course.
So we just recently invested in Param Labs, which is based down in Abu Dhabi. As well as a few other. Fakana was another gaming studio that we invested in. So the UAE is very interestingly placed in regards to your access to capital in different types of capital. So we talk a lot about sovereign wealth funds, and yes, they do invest in tech, and they are slowly starting to invest in blockchain companies as well. So that's just us at the moment. I might pause there and let the rest of my...
Right. Understanding from Joe, as a company that's specializing in digital security, yeah, what is your perceived and challenge that you face and solutions that usually that you applicable, yeah, from your point of view?
Yes, as we know, the fundamental design of crypto is very beautiful. So with a single private key, you can hold your assets, you can transfer your assets without the third-party centralized institution. But it's just like the double-edged sword. It has the drawbacks. For example, if you lose your key, then you lose your asset, and you have nowhere to claim the asset is yours, and you cannot get it back. So for the fund institution, so you are not losing the money, but you also lose your brand, your reputation. So, and also that's one point of view, is a single point of failure. So another is from the external attack. For example, we know the ledger is open, the source code is open sourced, and to the hackers, it looks like the easy money. They can just wave their sword to find the private keys. So, so they apply for the social engineering, and in the middle attack, there are several ways they try to find the private key. And also, there's also the drawbacks from the internal, like the internal compromise or misconduct. For example, if you want to transfer the money from address A to address B, but sometimes you find, okay, oh my God, it's transferred to address C. Probably, maybe it's by the human mistake or by the intention from the internal staff. That's hard to be avoided. So, and what I propose a solution is about MPC-based TSS signature. So it's a kind of a cryptography terms. So TSS stands for the threshold signature scheme. In short, not technically speaking, and previously we used a single private key to infer a public key, and finally we got the Bitcoin address. But now with the TSS, you don't use a single private key. You use several key shards. For example, we have the 3/3 cosine. So you have 3 private key shards. It's not related with a single private key. You use 3 key shards to infer a public key. And then you got your Bitcoin address. When you want to send the money from that address, you need 3 key shards to sign simultaneously, to sign together. And during the whole life cycle, the private key of that address never appears. So no one knows the private key. So it's very safe. It's, in my opinion, it's very safer than the cold wallet. For the cold wallet, even you save it in some very safe place, it might be one day by some way it was stolen or it's missing. But for the TSS, you have 3 key shards. Even you lost 1 key shard, your money is still there. And also, you can use another key shard from a different location. You can recover your first key shard. So it's pretty safe. So it's very convenient. So with the merit of the TSS, for the traditional fund institution, when they manage the key fund, they can add some kind of transaction approval policy. For example, if the transaction is above 10,000 USD, we need to approve by a certain process, a group of people. If more than 1 million, and we go another procedure. So, and also the transaction is not generated by the human beings. It's not generated by the internal staff, but it's generated automatically by the approval process. It's automatic, so there's no human mistakes, there's no internal misconduct. And also, we're working on this one probably in middle of April or late April. We will launch this product. We call it a warm wallet. Thank you.
All right, yeah. I do agree that security becomes the priority when it comes to relatively new asset to our human being. Yep. And I'd like to ask Vadim, from a VC perspective, what is the current trend that appear you? For your VC teams that you will look into it and you will carry on with your investment.
Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here today. So as a VC, as an early stage VC, right? So we look at the projects on the pre-seed, seed stage with the investments from 200 to 600,000 US$, and we help them a lot to grow. Right, so I'm in the space since 2017, and that's my core business, which I do since that time. So I have been invested as the angel investor, as the professional investor. Now we have a professional institutional grade funds where we keep investing to the projects, and in total is more than 100 projects that we have invested. Of course, some of them already gone, some of them already like big reputable projects in the space. And of course, we look at the trends, and for us, it's very important to see the next trends, right? So projects like deepen or ZK, of course, we keep investing in them, but major projects that we invested to that spaces, we didn't last year. Because this year we look much more on the fully homomorphic encryption, we look in the blockchain AI, we look in the next trends which will come. The main point here that, of course, we do need to understand the bull cycles, right? So, and the whole, let's say, like cycles of our industry. And companies and the projects who were building during the bear cycle, they are exactly the best teams. Because during the bull cycle, so many projects appear suddenly, popping out from everywhere. And of course, there's like projects who probably won't make it, right? So we are not actively going to invest, let's say, next year. Deploying the funds as the VC, we keep doing it this year, maybe till the end of the year, but next year, I don't believe it's going to be a lot of good projects. So for us, it's important to keep the whole cycle. So for the projects that we have invested last year and this year, we will see how they will perform for the next year, and then probably follow-up investments or some exit strategy from the projects, which is also very possible. It's a lot of trends. It's a huge difference with the previous bull cycle. Last bull cycle, we were talking a lot about DeFi, NFTs, metaverse, all these things just appeared. For now, this is already like old trends that people are not really looking at. Of course, DeFi will exist forever in our space, but NFTs and metaverse already transforming. But we have a new trend, which is AI plus blockchain, which is zero knowledge proofs. I'm super excited about that. In our funds, we have made 2 very professional reports about that. We have 7 analysts, professional analysts, who's always doing the reports about the whole things which is happening in the industry, and it's like 200 pages of pure information where we compare all the existing ecosystems, like ZK Sync.
Can you share some tips?
Sorry? Yeah, like ZK Sync,
That's we all want to. Yeah.
Scroll, Tyco, many of them. Right, so for now, so many rollups, so many L2s using the ZK solution. Maybe not all of them will make it happen. Of course, like a ZK Sync, I think a very good one. I also like StarkNet, so StarkNet probably a very good solution. So they have very different approaches. I'm not really going to a very technical detail, but Starks and Snarks is a huge difference, right, for from the technical point of view. If we're talking here from the UAE perspective, right, what I see here that the average knowledge of the, let's say, general public here is very low, right? So people don't know if I will start speaking about zero knowledge proofs or some technical things, they don't know what we're talking about, because people here, I mean, for the investor, I live here, but our funds is not here, right? Because so many complications for now, even though I have heard that Dr. Marwan and maybe Bilal from the DMCC could give us a little bit more tips on it. What I've personally met as the VC last year, we were thinking to create a feeder here, right? We're not in UAE, and I live here, I feel safe, comfortable. I think, okay, let's create a feeder here. And then I went to the IFC. Very good place. I love guys. They doing a great job. But as a VC, venture capital, they provide me the solution. Okay, you can set up the fund, but for every single new token, you have to pay $10,000 US as some sort of additional license. As this vehicle, we are going to invest 100 projects. Easy to calculate. There is an additional $1 million US that we have to spend for what? So it doesn't make sense, right? So such things should be improved, and I'm happy that here in UAE government they are looking for such pioneers or people who are going to speak with them, and yeah, let's see. So definitely in the future, I hope we can get some license here as well.
Maybe I could just add to your points because we're feeling something similar. So if anyone is doing a project at the moment, is looking to raise anything, I'm telling you right now, it is bull market crazy right now for us at Animoca. Last 2 months, the amount of deals that we're seeing at the moment, it's coming through thick and fast. So please make sure that your projects are prepped and ready with the TGE coming reasonably soon. In regards to setting up Animoca within the region, I've had the benefit of being able to do a bit of a beauty tour around meeting with Vara, meeting with ADGM, ADO, AD Gaming, through DIFC and so forth as well. And we're still a little bit overwhelmed around who do you get into bed with, and what is the best route to go down. Now, part of that is making sure, okay, are we going to have a fund here as well as in Hong Kong, or are we just going to have operations here? And that's us, that's on us to figure that out. But at the same time, having clear understanding of what we can and can't do here is something that, you know, everyone needs. But in saying all of that, the UAE is the best place to be able to do that. So it is more clear than Australia, the US, Hong Kong, Europe. Like, it is a much, much better place for us to do business here.
Yep, agreed. Yep. So from a key opinion leader's point of view, what usually have you gathered from retail markets, and any feedbacks that you have heard from your communities, or is there any special investment trends that specifically for retail users? Because now we have a good panelists of institutions, regulatory bodies, and representative of retail market. So can you tell us some of your feedbacks and opinions about this?
Thank you. Hey, thank you for having us. I'm so excited to be on the panel today with you guys. So is the question from my audience if I see any trends coming through? The audio from my side is a bit funky. Is that correct? Is that what you asked? Okay, perfect. Retail is not here. That's my opinion. I think we are witnessing a institutional FOMO with the ETFs. I can see some views coming in through retail. We do a bunch of live shows, and audience is now kind of starting to turn on the engine, you know, but still I think numbers are super low. We will see a huge amount of people coming and buy the top, probably next year, I think that's my opinion. In 11 years in crypto, I actually came to Dubai to escape the taxes, to be completely honest, you know, and it was 5 years ago, it was a very different Dubai. And ever since, it kind of became trendy to people to move here because of the openness, because of the authorities. But I still think, like I said before, talent is major problem. I can't find designer, I can't find developers, I can't find anything. The only option I have is cheap labor and not really skilled. I travel a lot, I live in many countries. My last country was London, the UK. And over there, I could drop anything, I could find the amazing for everything. Okay, a little bit pricey, but there was talent. To go back to your question in terms of trends, I can see games, Web3 gaming is gonna be, I think it's gonna be huge. Why? Because we've seen many companies building for years some solutions like Illuvium, Medieval Empires, there's many. And now finally they are a product, a working product, so they're pushing it on the market. So I think we will see gamers getting into the, oh, I can play, have fun, and make money? I'm sold. Also, of course, AI, I see coming in. I don't invest, I'm a maxi kind of guy. Bitcoin is my jam, and I speculate, but not really much. So to answer your question, I see AI and gaming coming out as a kind of front runner in this run.
Great, thanks for the sharings. And next, everyone wanted to know about the regulatory bodies. So, representative from DMCC, Vila, can you share some of the approaching of Web3 technologies, especially these days? What is the required licensing? And what is the measurements of compliance that can DMCC help in this way?
I guess there's been a lot of mixed feelings about regulations today. So I want to start by saying the UAE has been very supportive of disruptive technology. And of course, as they look to transition to a knowledge-based economy and away from fossil fuels, we're seeing technologies like AI and gaming being on the national agenda. And crypto has always been very kind of popular here, of course, and the city has always been pro-crypto. And that really helped get the confidence of a lot of the big players, because we've seen that here, once the vision is set and once the direction is set, we don't really kind of pull back, unlike some of the markets in the East and West on both sides. They've had kind of a change of heart when it came to crypto regulations after they've already opened up. And that can really give comfort, that kind of stability really helps. And similarly to DMCC, I mean, we're a commodity trading hub originally, and being a trading hub and trading being our mandate from the government, we're really early to kind of open up to crypto and to see the potential in technologies like DeFi and NFTs in taking trade to the next level. And that's really what made us kind of welcome, embrace, and accept, and even help facilitate and adopt crypto within our mainstream sector, within our community. And working with a regulator, so we're not a regulator, we're a licensing authority, but companies under DMCC can get licensing with DMCC and VARA jointly. And we were very much happy with the way basically they've taken a pragmatic approach, especially when it came to the legacy companies, so companies who are operating here prior to the regulation. We worked very closely together with Vara to make sure that they transition into the regulation, or maybe not if they don't fall under regulation. But that kind of helped keep the business sustainable and ensure business continuity while we basically transform into the new regulatory framework. And I think that really helped the business community here as well.
I see. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for letting us know how to get our business being legalized. Yeah, within the UAE regions. And the next questions I'd like to ask from the VC perspective, from Animoca Brands and Vadim. How do you actually do due diligence when you're about to invest into an industry?
Pray and spray. No. For us, it's looking at the trends. So maybe commenting on both the points before, when you're making a game, it takes many years to make a good game, to make one that's enjoyable. So we know that the payoff period is much longer. You are looking at 2 to 3 years to make a very good AAA game in Web3. So to your point, there is an emergence of these games now being released, and the market definitely helps. When it comes to trends, there is a lot around AI and deepen infrastructure at the moment. For us at Animoca, we look at things strategically. So we like to come in and help these founders go to market. So we will look at the tokenomics, we'll look at the market making, we'll assist with the PR, and we'll make an investment check. So I think gone is the day where we would just kind of cut a check and then that was it, because we're now at a stage where we have built the capability in-house and that we can do this, and that we want to make these partnerships strategic and long-term. And the more that we can kind of, assist in regards to for example, the tokenomics or the unlocking or the KOL support or anything along those lines, the better it is for us, because we have such a privileged position that we get to see so many deals and we get to work with so many different projects. So at this point, we're probably close to 500 portfolio companies and about 11 subsidiaries. Could argue that that's too many, but that's why we want to look at them. So at the moment, if you're going to market with a project, you need to make sure that you've got really simple things, that you have that your social media, that your influencer following's up, that you've got your connections with your KOLs, that you don't have a massive burn rate, that your cap table looks good, and that your TGE is going to align well with this market. So obviously not financial advice, but it's likely we'll see a pullback in the next month or two, right? And then it will kind of slingshot from there. So if you're looking at a TG event in December, don't even come and talk to me, because it's not even worth it at this point. So think about how your project aligns within market cycles, understanding that is difficult to predict.
Yeah, thank you. So many aspects. When you do due diligence, especially for technical projects, you definitely need to verify a lot of things. I won't go very deep to go through the whole whole list of the questions that we have to the projects, because it's literally a lot. But the main thing, because we're research-driven fund, as I said, right? So we long-term in the industry, and when we see the projects building on any particular ecosystem or protocol or layer, of course, we look at how close their relationships with the ecosystem. That's also very important, because each ecosystem, and now it's a lot of them, they should have, for successful launch of the ecosystem and for successful growth, they should have outlier projects on their ecosystem, which should be like a DEX, NFT marketplace, Launchpad, whatever, so like 8, 10 projects. And first of all, we look at them, because we know that protocol ecosystem, they already made a huge chunk of the job for us, because they have verified the team. They've been working with them probably since day one, and they already made a lot. So of course, we look at these outlier projects, and it helps us a lot. But of course, in crypto space for now, it's a lot of still a lot of false information. So you have to deal with double verification, confirm with your network, ask other VCs about if they invested on the early rounds or if they know the project. So rather than just the technical questions about where the company registered and stuff like that, you need to verify technology. You need to verify people. That's the most important thing, because the team, you always invest in the team. So founder, and sometimes you even need to go a little bit deeper and see what's the relationships between the founders, if they're really good in communicating with each other. Because I've seen a few projects which are actually very good in tech, very good in marketing in the beginning, in everything, but then suddenly something happened between the founders, especially if they were, let's say, not that rich before, and they suddenly they have like, a lot of Ethereum, a lot of money, floating to their accounts, and something started happening between the founders. They started like, having some issues, and project can fail just in one day. So these things you always keep in mind. I always keep in mind when I invest, that we need to verify. So you have to have this visual experience. You have to have, I mean, in my personal experience, I have seen, I don't know, I mean, maybe almost 10,000 of DEX. Have been talking with thousands of founders. So by that, you easily, at least you have some sort of green or red flags. I mean, even during the first conversation, you can understand some simple things that, yeah, probably we can, just sometimes it's just like inner feeling. So you literally go to the next conversation, or you think everything sounds great, but I feel the smell of something not going really well, and then you just pass it. So due diligence is a very good question. Of course, as I said, both should be a combined.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, Mauritius. Yeah.
My two satoshis on what you said. People invest in people, period. So, okay, of course you have to be prepared, a good project and everything, but if you are a complete douchebag and you go into a room, even if you have the best project ever, they're not going to pick you over someone else. So, and I've been surrounded by all sorts of kind of people in sort of kind of places, and it's super important to remark what you just said. I completely agree. People invest in people. So yeah, well said.
Right. Okay. And for Karis, yeah, what do you think the funding strategies now currently are most effective in the Web3 startups?
Well, funding strategies in the UAE is actually a little bit unique and a little bit different because of your access and ability to speak to government. That's rare. You don't get that in other countries. So if you have a startup and you're looking for funding, there's, for example, you can go down to Abu Dhabi and you can go through Hub 71 and they'll assist you from there. And then, and Dubai has very, very similar projects and incubator spaces. That's unusual. You don't get that support when you go through perhaps Europe or Australia or even in Hong Kong, which is where I was prior to Dubai. In regards to funding strategies, when it comes to Web3, I think, we've gone through the ICO period and that's done and dusted. We do look for utility in your token, not just from a legal perspective, but because it genuinely will last longer. So the good news is that the knowledge of Web3 is now increased, which means that people are more open to invest into capital there as well. So you've got much better chance of getting access to angel investors and VCs because we've gone through a couple of cycles now and we've been burnt quite a bit. To your point, you get an intuition about the person and the project. So I think if you're starting a project now, you can go to a traditional VC or investment, that's fine. But here you can go to government as well, and that's very rare.
I see. And for Bilal, what do you think after the funding stage? Yeah. What do you think is the key elements that can scale up startup companies that from Web3? What can DMCC helps to do with that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's important to be part of a community that really enables the businesses and having a supportive business environment as well. And example as a crypto center, we've got programs running the whole time. So we've got acceleration programs, we've got access to funding, we've got hackathons that are happening. So it's really an opportunity for companies to grow within that space and meet their next potential collaborator, partner, investor, and client as well, especially with the wider community that we have. So my advice is that you need to be part of a community in Dubai as well, not just kind of work on your own, and choose the one that can really enable your growth, and look at international markets as well, and which ecosystems can help you grow internationally, not just locally.
Yeah, get it. And thanks for the support from the MCC. And also, we'd like to know from a B2B perspective, as HyperBC, your company has been running in the UAE for a while, we know that. And what are the unique advantages that you can actually suggest or give our audience some advices that the quality that you preserve can actually outperform or give you some advantage in the landscape in UAE? Yeah, can you share some? Joe? Yeah.
Yeah, we have been working for the crypto area for more than 7 years, and our customer, we provide the wallet services and also the payment services to a large number to C users. So we know our customer better, and also our ecosystem, including the API, as the wallet as a services, and also we also have the hardware-based solution like ATM. You can withdraw your fiat money from your crypto, and also the POS terminals. And we also cooperate with the banks and also payment channel to provide the white label credit card services solution. For example, we support Visa, Master, or even the UnionPay. And also beyond our experience and the ecosystem, we also have the dedicated research lab called the Hyper Lab, formed by a group of smart guys and professors, and also the cybersecurity nerd to get the cutting-edge research. And that's why we are also confident to be ready for the future adoption, mass adoption. Thank you.
I see. So, okay, HyperBC do provide the solutions of on-ramp, off-ramp in terms for the users to be very smoothly to enter the Web3 industry. Is that what I get it right?
Yes, we provide the services.
Okay.
We call it the warm body for money transaction and also the transaction proposal process, etc. Yes.
Yeah, this is exactly the key elements of the traditional markets. They wanted to enter into Web3. This is the solutions that you guys provide. And for Vadim, what do you think that from your VC perspective, do you also have incubation hubs that help them to scale up if they are the fresh? Yeah.
Definitely, of course. Especially for the early stage projects, you have to help them a lot. Because as I mentioned, sometimes founders, they are very techy. They just understand the technology, they want to build it, they want just to sleep with it, they just like focus on it, right? So sometimes you even need to explain them very basic things about management the company, about how to manage your finance, about how to manage communications, even without within the team, what I mentioned, and outside. So many things which really help project and founders especially, to grow. And of course, I mean, like, typical things which exist on the markets, you help them with a network, you connect them with other VCs if they need extra funding, you connect them with other industry important players, which are usually media, community, VCs, as I mentioned, market makers and exchanges. So these 5 things usually create the whole holistic approach for the project, and sometimes they're lacking of 2 or 3, so you need to cover them up with that thing. So definitely, if you ask our projects, who are the best or one of the best investor, they definitely point on us and say that we brought them a lot of additional help on their growing stage. So that's also very important, I think, for the early stage VCs to have this approach. Otherwise, you just become, I don't know, someone who can. You easily go to casino and just bet on red or black, and just don't spend much time on it, right? So helping the project go from 1 to 100, that's very important for us. Right. So also to add into what you have just discussed about UAE, I start mentioning that. So if you look at the Silicon Valley or London or Berlin, there is a whole ecosystem of the funds, right? Early angel investors, then early stage funds, then the growth stage funds, then the late stage funds, pre-IPO funds, and then IPO platforms. So the whole thing is existed. And as a founder, you don't need to search so much time in the internet, even like, that simple, just to understand, okay, so there is a list of angel investors, there's a list of the later stage investors, and so forth and so on. So you can go through that pipeline quite comfortable, right? Here in UAE, definitely it's still a very early stage for that, right? So when we look at the current landscape of the investors, I've personally met, that's my personal experience, a lot of later stage large government-backed funds who usually support in the pre-IPO stages of the projects, and especially they like to support pre-IPO on the local markets, right? But not so many early stage VCs. If it's an early stage, which stage you choose, there is still also probably a government-backed kind of few funds, but not so many real kind of ecosystem around it. So good example actually, which probably I would suggest for the UAE to choose. It's what have been done in Israel. So for 20 years ago, they've been focusing mostly on later stage projects, which will be particularly acquired, not even listed, acquired by some companies, large companies in Silicon Valley, right? So by that, they have created a bench of founders who receive large amounts of money by acquisition, let's say from Microsoft or Meta or whatever, like big companies, and then they come back to Israel and start creating the other, or let's say like the ecosystem of new founders, which they can help with angel investments and with the whole knowledge which they have. So such things would be very reasonable for UAE to use as the experience. At the same time, with the regulations, with the whole thing that we have, I think it could be even faster.
How do you know these companies will come back though?
Founders who received them, let's say, who sold a company to American large corporates, they come back to their...
Founders will come back, not the businesses.
No, not the business. Founders come back and they help local ecosystem to grow.
I see. For Mauritius, why do you start your podcast and your YouTube channel? Is that because you know that this is the way for mass marketing? This is how
it was my wife. She said, "Stop talking Bitcoin to me." So I had to come up with something and say, "Hey, I love people. I love Bitcoin." Yeah. So I found myself in Dubai 4 years ago, and like I said, she was like, "For the love of God, stop talking to me about this thing." So I kind of went to events, like you guys were saying earlier. There's so many good people around in Dubai. You literally drop a stone in any corner, you find 2 or 3 people you can talk crypto with, and then one thing led to another, and I kind of started this thing, and I can't stop. It's selfishly, I'm learning a lot about people that I love and crypto, so it kind of became a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it's been great so far.
I see. Okay, that's good. Thank you. And for Bilal, what do you think beyond investment and funding? What are the other opportunities in Web3 landscape that UAE can offer?
I think there are a lot of opportunities out there. I mean. Government use cases is one. I mean, we've seen recently the Dubai police adopting Cardano's blockchain for criminal investigation and other solutions like that. DMCC was part of one of the early use cases here in the government. The previous panel talked about it, which was the Unified Business Registry, which was based on blockchain, and I think it's still going on at the moment. And there's a lot more in the pipeline to come up. So I think these kind of use cases create opportunities for Web3 businesses, of course. But the real opportunity, in my opinion, what we see is in real-world tokens, real-world assets tokenization. In DMCC, especially in the gold, we're seeing a lot more interest in that space, and we're actually playing a role in facilitating that, and we've helped one of the use cases actually come off the ground, and while we see more building up. So it's opportunities like that, in my opinion, that can take the crypto to the next level.
I see. All right. Thanks for sharing. Yes. Okay, before we finishing, we have one more last question. It's a very intuitive question. But do we still have the quota for bicycle? Do we still have that? Yes? Okay, yeah. So I will open 2 opportunity for our audience. All right, yeah, who wanted to ask questions? Okay, Sonia. Yeah. You can ask me in the office, you know. Yeah.
Thank you, amazing panel. I just want to ask some questions for the VC heads in here. I mean, investments, like just from the perspective of the retail users in the crypto market, we kind of sort of follow the VC's trend, reading which VC investing in what, and we get in because we think you're smarter than the general, retail users. Follow you guys, we make money. But what's your exit strategy usually? Go public in the centralized exchange like us, or how long, and also how long in general that your exit, how long it take for you to exit? Because we know when you actually enter a deal, you announce. We don't know when you exit the deal. So just a curiosity, how are you gonna, what's the sort of exit event that you guys have and strategy you have, just for the general knowledge of the public?
Right, thank you. Very good question. Actually, we have our wallets quite open, so many other retail users also can see when we start moving the tokens of the projects. If we
Good advice. I need to check that.
Yes, you can. Of course, we operate as a professional investor, and our major purpose here is to make money for our fund and for our LPs, right? So when we see the opportunity, we make money. That's the major thing. And of course, we think about when any particular action that we do could harm the project. If we see that this thing could definitely make a very big impact, we probably hold, and we can hold for quite a while because our horizon of the investments is quite long, right? So let's say just transferring all the tokens to one order book and then just sell it is of course something which not any VC should do, right? And of course we don't do it. So when we see that the potential of the good exit and potential profit for us, we would talk with the market maker of the project. We would probably sell it on OTC even with the discount, just not to impact on the market price of the project.
So the retail user will not know.
Probably they can see the movements of the tokens, right? But the thing is that it's not gonna be uploaded to the order book, so not a retail user is gonna buy it. Project probably buy it by themselves just because they want to buy back, etc. So, and of course we look at the market cycles, right? So trying to sell something during the bear market is not a good idea, right? So bull cycles, that's exactly the time when all your investments, which we actually made a bet on last year and 2 years ago, sometimes 3 years ago. Some projects that we have invested, we've been waiting for so long. We're not that retail users. They probably go to the launchpad today, invested $100, and then floating the Twitter of the project with a Venn token. So just 2 days after that, we're waiting for 2-3 years, helping the project to grow. Exactly what I have mentioned before, and I'm sure we have all the rights to exit when we think this is appropriate.
Thank you.
Do not fall in love with your tokens. Just don't do it. Anyone who's been in crypto long enough will understand that they've kind of gone through that sad cycle. So sell on the way up, make your profit. What we do outside, it almost doesn't matter, right? Because it's up to you and your portfolio and your risk tolerance, not ours. So yes, of course, we have vesting periods and locks that we have to abide by. But I also have a full market making team that can take exotic options, that have 24/7 trading bots that cannot compete with the retail market at all. So it's up to you as an individual when you're trading to understand this. So don't fall in love with your tokens. Not this cycle, guys. Don't do it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the advice, though.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question.
Hey.
Okay,
Here.
please.
May I? Hi. May I question?
Please,
okay,
yes.
perfect. Thank you. If we are on the crypto conference and everybody's speaking about the cryptocurrencies, and we have some bike outside, so somebody connect this bike with the proof of sport that you can make the token on this. If you're working on this bike, you get the token. That can be logical, no?
We need time to develop it, isn't it?
Of course,
We
that's
have
for the
existing,
future. We
yeah.
have future conference.
Yeah, we have existing
Okay, thank you.
projects.
That's my question.
Okay, give him a will do for now. Yeah. Okay, please.
I have one more.
Yes.
Vlad from CryptoC, thank you so much for a great panel.
Yeah.
Web3 is a massively narrative-driven space, and most of the projects right now overlooking the healthiness of their business model. They just forget about it. Okay, let's ramp up the valuation, right, and forget about real cash, tangible cash. That is pretty much the goal of the business, right? So, and the question is pretty straightforward. What would you prefer to sit in, let's say, in a valuable asset that's right now valued high, potentially for a short term or a middle term or whatever, for some extent period of time, or taking a part as a stakeholder in a cash flow positive business model in the Web3? That's pretty much the question.
So usually the structures that we'll see in the deals are, yes, you could get a token allocation and or you could get an equity allocation, which I think is kind of what you're referring to at the moment. So sometimes we see sometimes we see like an equity safe, and then you'll get a token warrant, perhaps like 1-for-1 from there. When we look and evaluate projects, you think about your exit plan, to Sonia's point, and exiting out of equity can be very difficult depending on what the business is like. So in this market, people, well, like my personal preference would be aligned to something that is liquid quicker. So I would align to a token. Yeah.
But the question, well, may I clarify a little bit about there is no place and too few projects, let's say 95% of them, they are really cash flow positive projects. They rely on dumping the tokens to retailers, to the community, whatever, to actually generate the cash to sustain the business model because there is no any way to gain the profits from.
That's just bad tokenomics then. So like if you're looking at projects where you can see the burn rate and then you can see that they're going to sell off their tokens because they're going to run out, then that's probably a call on like the individuals of the who's running the project.
Red flag.
Red flag. Get the ick. Don't do it.
Right.
Can I
one last one?
Just really quick.
Right.
I'm actually wanted to seek for some quick advice. So right now in this moment and area that we are right now, most of startups that I see, they're focused on AI, they're focused on blockchain, Web3. You know, myself as an entrepreneur, I've already went bankrupt many times trying to do the next big thing, and I got tired of that. And I started just making money. So I've been focusing myself on a startup already 2 years, but it's just like basic stuff, like from the world, like academy, doing content, but it's really focused more on my personal brand. This company, I mean, it's bringing millions of dollars, but it's attached to my personal brand. And I've always been thinking to my team and asking, hey guys, so we're doing great things, good money, everything, good numbers, but what is the next step? I mean, how do we sell this? How do we, it's mainly attached to my personal brand. We have leads, we generate a bunch of volume, we have an ecosystem, but it's still attached to my personal brand. So how do I even approach a VC? Because I know, because of my community, because of what I do, if I create maybe a software as a service connected to my community, I immediately have an entry with my own market I've created. But am I eligible to even talk to a VC if my business is attached to my personal brand? And it's not focused on huge tech. No, it's just a cash flow business that's generating profits every month. So I always feel like a little bit maybe outdated because all entrepreneurs here, they are focused on crazy things, AI and this. But my stuff is pretty basic, but it's working. So what advice would you guys tell me as an entrepreneur? Yeah.
I would suggest you to go and find in Google Lieberman's. Actually, it's one interesting new concepts when funds invest into people. They not invest into companies. They invest some money. I'm not sure about the check size, but they will get the rights to get all the benefits with the percentage agreed for 30 years. That's probably also interesting concept that we should see in some period of time, which is not only because now we have DAOs, now we have smart contracts, now we have so many new things are popping out and really become the truth. So probably you should find some new narratives. That's what I say.
All right.
Like thinking about, without knowing the details, you need to create a product if you don't have one already, and product streams. So perhaps Maurizio would be able to comment more on this because this is your area of expertise. But if you think about what Mr. Beast did, like he was just a brand, right? But then he created the products around them and generated revenue that way. That was his business model. So you still know it's him, but he's got burgers and restaurants and protein bars and you know everything like that. So if you have that and you have an asset that you can put a value to, then that's great. But when you're going to the VC, why are you going to the VC? Do you want to sell out? You just want to cash, go hang out in Thailand or whatever? Or do you want to grow? And then what does that growth plan look like?
Actually, yes, because my situation, for example, right now is that it's not the same thing to have, like, for example, a $5 million a year company than 100 million. The knowledge of doing like corporate stuff is quite different from entrepreneur. So I don't have the experience for it. I'm actually trying to see how can I partner with people that can guide me to take decisions in a corporate way, because it's way different. Like, for example, my stuff is many stuff, but main core is like trading academy. So taking it to the next level, doing SaaS. So we've been like in a loophole, like the last 3 years, generating money, everything, but I don't see like what is the next big step in this. So yeah, it's my focus is that to maybe find this way to turn into a corporate, not just like startup entrepreneur doing this every year the same, and it's growing, but not like I would love to.
We see this a lot in consultants because or lawyers, like you're just paying for time, right? There's no product there, so we can talk offline about it if you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, for my 2 cents that probably I can chip in. First of all, you need to understand your own products. Yeah, as you say, it's a training related, probably the variety and the horizon of the product, you first need to list it out. And the second thing, if you guys have R&D departments, that you have enough budget to hire a management consultant, so they can break it out into each different department categories that help you to more out-touchings on the different possibility. And also, is that necessary for your brand to be rebranded and cross-collaborate with the other influencers? So this will lead to your audience not to only focus on your face, for example, as you say. Yeah, they will be a little bit more distracted and more options to choose from. Yeah.
Yeah, so, sorry, super quickly from my side. I don't think you need money. I think you need mentorship, which is a completely different thing. If you're making $5 million a year, you're okay, bro. So you just need mentor.
Talk to Mauritius, Okay, thank you all for your questions today. And very, very last intuitive questions. What UAE and Web3 has made you, and what is your looking forward perspective? Give a simple ending for this panel. Yeah.
Well, I think Token 2049 is going to be the perfect test for how big Dubai is and crypto, so I'm looking forward to it.
Very much looking forward.
I think Dubai is the land of opportunity for crypto.
Yeah, perfect.
Definitely this year in UAE we will see a huge difference, and I think that the regulations and a lot of founders who already came here, who relocated, who probably started their business here, definitely will make this city the one of the largest for sure. I won't say largest, but one of the largest hub for the businesses, for the Web3. So I'm happy to be here from the early days of this, and happy to looking forward to it.
Yeah, very precisely.
I just arrived in Dubai a couple of days, maybe more than 10 days.
Very fresh.
I'm curious about everything, and the atmosphere for the crypto is quite open. I like here. I wish everything will be fine. Thanks.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Well, you said you don't. I would say, Bibi, come to Dubai.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Yes, that's a great panel. Yes. Yeah. Wonderful pictures. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being with us.